Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, June 13th, 2022. I'm Crystal Dawn Hill, and I'm here just to share a brief update on where I am in my journey. My voice shook a little bit when I said that because I'm kind of excited about this. And I haven't really shared anything on video quite this extreme. But I feel like it's noteworthy, and I feel like I just want to talk about it rather than writing about it. So, over the past few days, I started feeling my divine masculine really, really strong. And it got heavy, got very heavy. And I couldn't put my finger on why it was. And as I tried to meditate and tried to discern what reason it was, I kept thinking, well, normally when I feel like this, I hear from him. Normally when I feel like this, it means a breakthrough for us as a unit. And it didn't feel like that. It felt more like this is something I had to get through on my own. And as much as I wanted to hear from him, it simply wasn't going to happen. And I knew that it was a big shift. I could feel that. It's how all the other big shifts have felt before when others feel it as a collective. And so I really wasn't sure what to make of it, because even though it felt familiar and I felt like I could sort of discern what was going on the other hand, it felt different. It felt uncharted. And so I knew I just had to ride with it. So the heaviest part of it was yesterday. It wasn't sad, or I wasn't emotional or anything. I just felt this tremendous amount of pushing into my energy field, and it really felt like him. And I just knew that it was going to result in hearing from him in some way. And I guess you can say in a way I did. And what I heard was absolute silence. You know the proverbial phrase, you could hear a pin drop? Well, that's how it felt in our connection. That's how it felt in the energy. It was like the silence was maddening, and it was so loud. And the noise that you hear in the background is my coffee pot. I'm brewing coffee. Normally I have tea, but I really feel like having coffee this morning. So, anyway, yeah, I tried to connect with him through writing. I tried to connect with him through meditating. And there was just no hearing from him whatsoever, energetically or outwardly. So I believe that the shift that I was going through was another awakening along the journey, but in a different way than what I've ever had before. And the reason that it felt familiar is because I've gone through this before. But the reason that it's new and uncharted is because I'm handling it differently than I've ever handled it before. So the familiarity was that of coming back down to earth, of letting go of what I thought was, and re-embracing my worldly existence, my worldly circumstances, and getting my feet planted back on the ground. So in the past, when I've had that experience, I completely dismissed the whole 5D experience. And I'll go into that a little bit, and I'm going to pause while I go get coffee. So if I accidentally disconnect my video, then I'll do another part. But I've paused it before and it worked, so hopefully I can do that successfully. Okay, I think it worked. We'll see when I'm done. Um, excuse me. So, in the past, when I have gone along a certain path, believing that what I was experiencing was real and true, and being able to see how it should unfold, um, when I would reach the end of that journey and look back, I would question what I was intuiting. I would question if I was on the right path, and I would question why I even believed it to begin with. And that's what I'm faced with in this situation. But before, when that would happen to me, yeah, I would question. And I would be left going, okay, what was that all about? And that would send me into a tailspin or a downward spiral, and I would start questioning everything everything about my intuition, everything about my life, everything about my choices. Um, and it would send me in this whirlwind of confusion and disillusionment. And I'm if you can see in the video, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. It's actually gratitude and amazement that I've reached this point in my life where I could come to what feels like the end of something and not do that, and be able to look back and still trust and still believe and still have faith in myself that my intuition was true. And I probably can make a separate video on just why I feel so strongly that the past 3.5 years of my life has been true and real. And I'm going to go into a little bit of that here. So, the familiarity that I was talking about is that feeling of wanting to doubt and wanting to go into that phase of questioning and, could this be real? Could was everything real that I experienced? And I know I'm being vague, and that's because I'm not really talking about any particular situation. I'm just talking about any time that I would go along believing something. It could be a friendship, it could be a romantic interest, it could be, a job, any any experience that I had that I would reach the end of and look back, I would always question. And it all comes down to my faith. It all comes down to my trust in God and that He's guiding me in the right direction. And maybe the message for my audience is that if you reach the end of something and you look back and wonder if you had made the right decision or gone down the right path, if you question that, then you question everything. You question your ability to be able to intuit that you're doing the right thing. And I've reached this point throughout my life where I would look back over past experiences where I had doubted, and I would try to convince myself. It's like, don't doubt. But I never could overcome that for good. I always found myself slipping back into that. So today, after having gone through another one of these shifts where I find myself really questioning my intuition and my perspective and everything, I know that without a doubt, my faith and my confidence and my trust in what was is not to be questioned. And the reason that I can say that with such confidence is because of what God showed me in the beginning. What He didn't show me was the earthly part. Or maybe He showed me, but I didn't look. Maybe I wasn't ready. But the silence that I'm getting from my divine masculine, like I said, it's deafening. It really is. And it's maddening. And I've tried to cope with that in every way I can. I've tried to reach out to him. I've tried to talk about it with others. I've written in my journal about it. I've written posts about it. I've meditated about it. I've even just spent days where I just completely put it out of my mind altogether, by focusing on everyday tasks, or just, going back into 3D and watching a movie, or just talking to friends about 3D stuff or stuff other of their journey and not focusing on mine. There's been so many different ways that I've tried to not deal with this. And there's been ways that I've tried to deal with it, and then when I realized that nothing seemed to be helping, then I would go the other way and just not deal with it. But if you listen to what I'm saying very closely and very much on a deep level, you'll hear that what I'm saying is actually part of the journey. It's actually walking myself through this experience. And this is what we're supposed to do. And this is why I feel so overjoyed and emotional. Because of, like I said a few moments ago, I'm handling it different this time. I've reached a level of maturity where I'm not looking back and doubting or questioning or thinking that none of it was real. And I think I needed to do this video. I think I needed to talk about it out loud rather than write it, because as I'm talking, more of it is unfolding in my mind. And if I was just writing, I would be more focused on how I'm wording it, and if I'm spelling everything right, and how it looks on the screen or on paper, rather than just talking it out. And now my voice is really shaking because I'm very emotional over what I'm realizing now, which is I haven't even gone into yet. I'm so emotional about it that I haven't even begun to talk about it. But I think a lot, well, I won't say a lot of people, maybe down the road a lot of people, but for now, I think a handful of people will understand this and appreciate it. And that is the reason that I'm not doubting anymore. It must be, and I don't know this for sure, because I'm not picking up on my divine masculine intuitively. So I can't say this with confidence, with intuitive knowing. Excuse me. But it makes perfect sense that the questioning must be on his end. So my confidence is so strong that it's natural that he would really be questioning things. And a pop-up screen just came on the side of my screen, and because of my vision I couldn't tell quite what it was. It looked like something actually over my shoulder moving. It startled me. um anyway, this time the questioning must be different. I hadn't planned on going into any kind of a lecture about how the twin flame dynamic works or the divine partner connection, but I think it's worth going into just a little bit, to kind of explain where this thought process is coming from within me. So the divine partners will, I completely lost my train of thought.